morning. President Park Geun-hye holds summit talks in Kuwait, signing a number of deals to bolster and diversify economic cooperation between the two countries. Iraqi government forces say pro-government troops have seized control of two districts north of the capital, Baghdad, in what is being called the biggest attack against an Islamic State stronghold. Fingernails can be a window to your overall health, showing you telltale signs of what may be going on in your body. They also need a bit more tender loving care than you may have expected. And with leisure sports growing in popularity, Alex Sigrist takes us for a look at Korea's largest international leisure and sports show on Korea Today, Tuesday, March 3rd, 2015.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside All Chin Ju. And today we begin in Kuwait, the first leg of President Park Geun-hye's four-nation tour to the Middle East.
Now, on Monday, she held talks with the country's emir, after which a number of deals were signed to diversify Korea and Kuwait's economic cooperation and help create inroads for Korean firms in the region.
And for more on the details, we connect live to Arirang News presidential correspondent Choi You-Sun, who's been traveling with the president. You-Sun, good morning, and fill us in on the latest.
Hi, guys. President Park's current visit to Kuwait is the first by a Korean president in 8 years, and it was the first time President Park held summit talks with the Kuwaiti emir. The Korean president said Kuwait's diversification initiative, the Kuwait Vision 2035, is very similar to a three-year economic plan in that they both aim to build new growth engines through creativity and innovation. Similar to other Middle Eastern countries, Kuwait is seeking ways to reduce its dependence on petroleum by diversifying its industries. The two sides signed a deal in which the state-run Korea Electric Power Corporation will supply power-deficient Kuwait with its smart grid technology system that can store renewable energy to meet rising demand. And this latest initiative will help Korea export energy to the region for a change. And going beyond energy trade, Korea and Kuwait have agreed to work together in oil-related technological development. Guys?
So you said Kuwait has long been one of Korea's major overseas markets when it comes to plant construction. Any new agreements reached in that area of economic cooperation?
Well, instead of just sending workers and supplying support for infrastructure, Korea is seeking to exchange knowledge and launch joint ventures with Kuwait to boost cooperation. With the signing of deals to send experts and share know-how, Seoul has opened the door for Korean companies to partake in Kuwait's national infrastructure projects. One Korean consortium anticipates winning more than half of Kuwait's $14 billion refinery project in the first half of this year, while other Korean firms are looking to win bids in a $22 billion subway construction venture. The two sides also agreed to start working together in healthcare, particularly in medical staff training and hospital management.
Well, you said aside from economic ties, President Park, as I understand, sought Kuwait's support for her North Korea and unification policies.
Right. Kuwait is the only Gulf nation that has a North Korean embassy, and it is known to provide humanitarian aid to the north. So it was important that President Park secure greater cooperation with Kuwait on resolving the North Korean nuclear issue and preparing for a peaceful unification of the two Koreas. President Park will travel to Saudi Arabia later Tuesday to expand cooperation with Korea's top oil supplying nation. And that's it for now. And this was Choi You-Sun reporting on President Park's Middle East tour.
And thank you, You-Sun, for that. Korea's stocks began the week hitting an intraday 5-month high on Monday on an upward trend, reaching just below the psychologically important 2,000 mark at the end of today's trading session. The benchmark Kospi rose roughly 11 points or 0.55%, closing just under the 2,000 mark. Analysts say rate cuts in China and the launch of the European Central Bank's €1 trillion quantitative easing program contributed to the inflow of foreign capital. Foreigners were net buyers for the 6th day in a row. Meanwhile, tech giant Samsung Electronics shares jumped by 4.9%, adding fuel to the main bourse after unveiling its latest Galaxy S line of smartphones with the industry's first wireless charging batteries. The local currency stood at 1,100.8 won to the dollar at the conclusion of trade.
A recent survey shows that 7 out of 10 smokers in Korea either gave up or cut back on smoking this year following the hike in cigarette prices. The survey was conducted by the Korea Press Foundation on some 1,000 people who smoked as of December. 32% of the respondents said they have managed to completely step out, while 36% said they have reduced the number of cigarettes they light up every day. Half of those who quit smoking said they were motivated by health concerns, while 6 in 10 of those who cut back said the increase in cigarette prices was the biggest reason behind their decision. The largest number of respondents said raising the price of cigarettes was the most effective way to curb smoking, while others said adding warning images to packaging would be the second most compelling method.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. Now, a top story that's on all of the domestic papers this morning is the news of successful negotiations between the rival parties on an anti-corruption bill dubbed the Kim Young-ran bill. Let's get a look at all of these details on Gyeongyang Shinmun, and it's the header towards the bottom of the front page. Title says, agreement reached on Kim Young-ran bill, public officials and spouses must report bribes. So just yesterday, the ruling and main opposition parties reached an agreement on the government proposal at a meeting between the floor leaders on the so-called Kim Young-ran bill, which aims to root out corruption. The parties agreed to vote on the bill today at a parliamentary plenary session. And this comes after months of wrangling over whether its details are constitutional or infringe upon individual freedom. Now, the bill is named after a former judge and ex-chairwoman of the Anti-Corruption and Civil Rights Commission, which was proposed in August 2012. The bill stipulates that public officials or their spouses who receive money or valuables worth more than 1 million won or over $900 will receive criminal punishment. Now, the parties also agreed to hold accountable those working at media companies as well as private school teachers. Now, moving on to 동아일보, we'll take a look at the top header here. And this says telecommunication firms to stop providing police and prosecutors with users' private information. And let's go ahead and look at the sub-headlines now. Up until now, the top 3 local telecom firms, SK Telecom, KT, and LG U+, have voluntarily complied with requests from investigative agencies submitting sets of data on individuals' private information, such as their phone numbers, names, and national ID numbers upon request. However, as of yesterday, the company said that they will halt this practice as they have been ordered to compensate individual users for breaching privacy laws. And with this news, the police and the prosecution have said that if their requests for cooperation are denied, they fear a crisis will arise in their investigations. Now going on to a side story on 조선일보, and this is about a rosy housing market. It says housing market warms up, buying over 전세. So some good news on the real estate market. The revival of the housing market seems to be getting more visible now. And looking here, in fact, the number of deals have peaked throughout January and February this year here in Seoul, with buyers choosing to purchase homes rather than making 전세 deals, which is paying a lump sum deposit up front instead of paying monthly rent. Now, if we go ahead and look at this graph here, you can see the number of apartment transactions made throughout the past 6 years during the month of February, and it has seen a sharp increase, especially since the year of 2013. And finally, we'll go ahead and wrap with a look at the Korea Economic Daily. And this is called Samsung Poised for Rebound with Lee Jae-yong's smartphone. Now, Lee Jae-yong's smartphone, meaning the Galaxy S6 that Samsung Electronics debuted over the weekend at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. The vice chairman of Samsung is said to have overseen the production of this new line, and the company also held an open event to showcase the new gadget under the theme of all new Galaxy. And if we take a look at these bold sub-headlines, the general reactions to the phone. It's very sophisticated in design, comes with top-grade functions, and these sentiments were reflected in its stock prices upon release, as you did hear earlier. Now, that was a look at our local headlines this Tuesday, and finally are the stock numbers from Monday.
Let's now get a check on the weather forecast. We're seeing some drizzle here in Seoul and the surrounding areas as well.
That's right. For those morning commuters out there, you might want to pack up and leave just a little bit earlier than usual. And to tell us more on today's weather, guess who's back? Chun Sung-cho. She is back in town. She's at Gangnam Station. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yes, long time no see. Today is going to be a rainy one for those of you in most regions of the country. It's already started drizzling in the west side, including the greater Seoul area and Jeju, with 5 to 20 millimeters of scattered showers in the forecast in the next 24 hours. And it will gradually spread to the rest of the nation as we move into the afternoon. Over in Gangwon-do province, where temperatures are lower, it might even turn to sleet or snow. Some areas are expecting up to 7 centimeters of white powder piling up by the end of the day, so residents there should take note of that. There's a trough of low pressure system over North Korea right now, with a wet cold front sweeping through down south. And behind this front, temperatures will tumble tomorrow back to negative numbers. So enjoy the relatively warm temperatures while you can. It's currently about 4 degrees Celsius here in Seoul. And with that, let's take a closer look at today's temperature readings around the nation. Today, the temperature gap between the highs and lows has become smaller compared to yesterday, with higher morning lows and lower afternoon highs. Seoul will be the coldest at 5 and Jeju the warmest at 12 degrees Celsius. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Back to the studio, Jinju.
Time now for a look through the global headlines for following this hour. For that, we connect to our Eunice Kim at the News Center. Good morning, Eunice.
Good morning.
Now, major offensive is underway in Iraq. Iraqi forces are pushing into the heartland in an effort to recapture the strategic city of Tikrit from Islamic State militants.
That's right, Jinju. This is a massive operation reportedly made up of some 30,000 fighters, both from the Sunni and Shia denominations. And the reason why Tikrit is strategic is because it bridges Baghdad and the country's second largest city of Mosul, which fell under Islamic State hands along with Tikrit in their lightning advance, you'll remember, last summer. State-run TV said troops and militia were approaching Tikrit from several fronts, backed by Iraqi airstrikes from the air and artillery on the ground. Reports say Iraqi forces have seized at least 2 districts in the Sunni stronghold and that they had suffered casualties. The operation is being backed by a key Iranian general as well, who has been instrumental in defending Baghdad and organizing a pro-Iranian Shia militia. Now, Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi had announced the offensive late Sunday local time and offered pardon to Sunni tribal fighters who had sided with the IS group ahead of the operation. Capturing Tikrit, the hometown of Saddam Hussein, is viewed as crucial in any future plans to retake Mosul, which U.S. military officials had said could happen as early as April. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has issued a firm warning against pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine, warning that they should not issue a piecemeal adoption of the truce in place. At the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, he said rebels were only pulling heavy weapons from parts of the front line. His Russian counterpart, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, meanwhile cited tangible progress on the ground. Kerry said Russia would face further economic sanctions if the ceasefire was not implemented in full, while expressing optimism that that would be completed in, quote, hours, certainly not more than days. OSCE monitors have said it was too early to confirm that either side had withdrawn their heavy weaponry in full.
And Eunice, let's shift gears to some lighter news. It's that time of the year. Forbes magazine has released its annual rich list, and the wealthiest, by no big surprise, was Bill Gates. He took the #1 spot for the 16th time in the last 21 years. But I understand the billionaires list also marks some new records.
Yeah, that's right. This year's list marked a record for the largest pool of billionaires at 1,826. That's 181 more than last year. And there were also a record number of women represented on the list, as well as newcomers. And among the newcomers is NBA star Michael Jordan. He is, of course, arguably the best basketball player of all time. He came in at number 1,741, much of his riches coming from his partnership with sports brand Nike, of course, but also valuable for Jordan was the NBA franchise, the Charlotte Hornets, in which he grew his stake to 90%. That shot up in value last year, now worth more than $500 million. Other newcomers joining Jordan hailed from Silicon Valley, including 3 from Uber, you might have heard of that application, 3 from Airbnb, and also 2 from Snapchat. China was the country with the largest class of new billionaires, adding 71 to its list, followed by the U.S., India, and Germany. And Junju, Korea's Lee Kon-hee, chairman of Samsung Group, came in at number 110 this year.
No wonder it's so difficult to get your hands on the newest Air Jordan models these days.
Right.
Thank you, Eunice.
Sure thing.
Now, stay with us on Korea Today because we're going to take a look at how important our fingernails are. They may be a tiny part of our body, but did you know that they provide a look into your overall health? Nails are susceptible to damage, so how do you prevent them from becoming brittle, dry, and infected? An expert will join us to tell us how.
A famous Italian artist recognized for his abstract sculptures has landed in Seoul, and he is opening a gallery filled with some of his eye-opening art. And joining us is Im Yoon-hee to talk more about that. Good morning.
Good morning. Right. So Italian sculptor Novello Finati, he has for decades been known for his work in contemporary art in Italy, but also mostly for his sculptures. Well, he's opened a solo exhibition at the Seoul Museum, and he's brought some of his most important works. Take a look. A baby in its mother's womb is a precious symbol of life. This baby is already leaving an imprint on its mother. Verona-born artist Novello Finati is praised globally for his approach to art, using sculpture to capture life's special occasions and the unique aspects of humanity.
Through a boundless imagination, dreams can embody the hopes of a father. It carries the message of not wanting to wake his precious sleeping daughter.
Finati takes a modern approach to his work, creating abstract sculptures that echo our world, but also suggest a different part of our lives.
Humans are born on Earth and are reborn again. I wanted to create that flow.
This leg, with a jutting arm holding a pair of lips, is not something you'll see in reality, but it represents a new, mysterious part of our world, a part that Finati wants to explore. His abstract modern works have captured the imaginations of people from around the world, and now they're catching the attention of Koreans. Buongiorno is Italian for good morning, and that's just what Italian sculptor Novello Finati's works convey, each sculpture embracing a cherished part of our lives.
It looks like Finati actually gets a lot of inspiration from the human body and uses that in his abstract art. But when it comes to art for sculptors, I do understand, from my very little understanding of the arts, is that the materials that they work with is rather important.
Right, so it is very important for these artists. Now, Finati works with marble and granite, some beautiful pieces with those two materials. But really, he's praised for his detail and his sense of imagination that you can see. You saw, in the report, crazy sculptures that he really does put his imagination towards. And so because of that, he's been shown at biennales and exhibitions around the world.
So I understand that Finati has had encounters with several of Korea's well-known artists, and he's actually helped in bringing recognition to one of those artists in Italy, I understand.
Right, exactly. So Finati himself is a very well-respected artist, and so he, a few years ago, recognized the Korean sculptor Kim Young-won. And as a result, Kim was given a spot in front of the City Hall in Padua, Italy. And that was the first time for a foreign artist to be given a spot to put up one of his sculptures. And so he got a lot of attention there. But here in Korea, he also is an established sculptor as well. He actually created the King Sejong statue in the Gwanghwamun Plaza.
Okay, that's that one that we see the moment that we walk in there, right?
A very special statue for us.
All right, well, thank you very much for that report.
You're very welcome.
Still ahead on Korea Today, if you are into leisure activities or leisure sports, then you might want to pay attention, because if you are a bicycle rider or if you like camping, if you like the outdoor stuff, then this one's for you. Join Alex Sigrist. He's going to take us out to a very big international leisure sports and international leisure and sports show, that is, and he's going to take us through that. It's the largest international venue here in Korea. So if you're into working out or being on the water, then get on it.
Now, a 3.6-kilometer stretch of road in Sejong City has been designated as the Pope Francis Road.
That's right, and a formal naming and plaque unveiling ceremony was held yesterday. And for more, we're joined by Choi You-Sun in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. That's right. So it's been named the Pope Francis Road to commemorate the papal visit to the city last August, and it follows part of the route that he took during that visit. So as you mentioned, the road is a 3.6-kilometer stretch from the Jeonni intersection down south to the Daejeon Catholic University, which hosted the 6th Asian Youth Day and was the only university that he had visited during his Korean stay. At the naming ceremony yesterday, a 1.5-meter tall plaque was unveiled, which stated that the city hoped to remember the Pope's spirit of love, harmony, and service. Wow. And the Sejong City Mayor, he said that he wants to tie this road together with other Catholic holy sites around the area and develop one tourist course.
Well, that's tribute to Pope Francis there, but actually you have a whole city named after you, Ching-ju, so.
Right.
She tops that, she tops that. Moving on, there were many school entrance ceremonies held nationwide yesterday, and at one middle school, there was a man in his 80s among all the bright young faces. 81-year-old Mr. Kim Bo-kwan was returning to second year of middle school after taking a very long break. Now, the last time he went to school was 60 years ago when he was a first-year student at the very same school, but he had to quit back then to go to military and also to earn money for his family. He was inspired to return back to school after learning about an elderly woman who did the same thing and sat her college entrance exams late last year. So hopefully he'll go on to inspire many others in turn.
Okay, so late nights staying up studying for him.
A lot of studying up ahead. And wrapping up with some entertainment news, singer Seo Jun-soo of JYJ released his highly anticipated third solo album today. Titled Flower, it's his third solo album in 20 months, and it features 13 songs as well as a music video for the title track Flower. Now for this album, Jun-soo collaborates with a range of other K-pop heavyweights, including ballad singer-songwriter Naol and hip-hop artist Tablo. Flower's already getting some rave reviews online, with critics saying that it's a side of Jun-soo that they haven't seen before. Let's have a listen.
Really sounds great. He looks great. I mean, he debuted, what, like 6, 7, even 8 years ago. I think it's been a long time.
Very long time.
Right. And I'm looking forward to this album, especially because he's collaborated with some of my favorite artists.
Which one?
Tablo, both of them.
You know, I think we're seeing more and more of that in Korean pop.
Collaboration between all the big names.
Yeah, sure. And I heard that there's a concert coming up tonight.
Definitely. So he's kicking off his third Asia tour tonight with a concert in Osaka, followed by stops in Seoul, Shanghai, Bangkok, and back to Japan over the coming weeks.
You know, it's really tough for fans to actually get those tickets because once they go on sale, it's like the internet just becomes frozen with people trying to buy it.
It's sold out in like 1 minute?
No, it's seconds, right?
Yeah,
you have to be really fast with the clicks.
With Seojun's concert, the one in Seoul, that one sold out in less than 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't seconds.
Very quick nonetheless.
Thank you so much, Arirang.
You're welcome.
And a good Tuesday morning to you all as we kick things off with the Korean national football team as manager Uli Stilicke is set to return to Korea after his well-deserved vacation. And once he returns, it's busy, busy, busy for the head coach. Now with the 61-year-old vacationing in his home in Spain, he's set to return on Wednesday in time for the 2015 K-League Classic season, which will kick off on Saturday. And with his return, he'll be attending the opening match between the Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors and Seongnam FC, where he's expected to find more hidden talents in the domestic league. Meanwhile, the national team is set to gather back on the 23rd and play Uzbekistan on the 27th, followed by New Zealand on the 31st. Now, speaking of which, with the 2015 K-League Classic season kicking off on Saturday, just like I mentioned, the focus is on which teams are the favorites going into the new season. But according to experts, it's a new season, but the same teams expected to win it all. Now, with the domestic football experts choosing their picks for early season favorites for the 2015 K-League Classic season, the consensus are the Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, who claimed the league title last season, and the Pohang Steelers. Now, despite losing some key players, Jeonbuk still boasts a deep squad, while Pohang strengthened their team by signing a foreign player, something they actually haven't done in the past few seasons. Meanwhile, Seongnam, Incheon, Daejeon, and Gwangju are expected to be the bottom 4 teams this season. Now, we've seen the Korean dominance early on in the 2015 LPGA season, so it's no surprise that we're seeing so many Koreans in the top 10 world rankings, especially with Amy Yang claiming the Honda LPGA Thailand this past weekend. Of course, just like I mentioned, with Amy Yang claiming her first LPGA Tour title in 17 months, she jumps up 6 spots and is now ranked 10th in the latest world rankings, becoming the 4th Korean in the top 10 rankings. Now, Lydia Ko holding on to her top spot. Park In-bi remains in 2nd, with Kim Hyo-ju jumping up 1 spot to 7th, while Ryu So-yeon dropped down to 8th as the Koreans claimed 3 victories in the 4 LPGA Tour events so far this season. Now, the Koreans are crushing competition in the LPGA. Pittsburgh Pirates slugger Kang Jong-ho has been crushing baseballs during spring camp, and earlier today got his first chance at showcasing his power in the team's first inter-squad game. Now, with Kang Jong-ho hitting 3rd and playing shortstop in this game, he gets 1 at-bat and goes hitless before being pulled out of the game in the 4th inning. But he did make a defensive play at short, getting a ground out in the 1st inning as he's set to play his first full spring training game against the Toronto Blue Jays on the next day. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
With spring right around the corner, nail art, which uses small canvases, your fingernails, to create art is gaining more attention. Nails are considered just as important as any other fashion accessory these days. But despite this interest in decorating fingernails, not many worry about the health of their nails. What may seem like minor damage may in fact lead to something greater and require medical treatment, and the number of people visiting hospitals for such diseases or disorders is increasing each year. Onycholysis, otherwise known as nail lifting, is most often found among young women. Paronychia is when an infection develops around the nail and causes swelling, redness, and even pus. These nail diseases often stem from dry, brittle nails that are caused by repeated use of nail polish, causing the nails to break off easily. Lack of nutrition from bad dieting practices can deter ordinary nail growth, making them susceptible to damage. Exposure to dish soap or continual dampness can also hurt the nails. Fingernails may make up for a tiny part of the body, but they can also be a gauge for our overall health. This is why it's important to examine them regularly and make sure they're well maintained. If your nails are white, you can suspect malnutrition or anemia. While if you see white spots with a general yellow hue, it could signal dysfunction in the liver. Because of these reasons, it's just as important to keep your nails in good shape, and we'll get a closer look at how.
Now, you never really think about it, but when you see someone with pretty hands, then a large part of it has to do with their nails being pretty. So it seems that nails do need a little bit more tender, loving care. At the same time, it can actually be a window to your overall health. Joining us is Dr. Cho Sung-gyun from Parkview Clinic to tell us how to take care of our nails. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So as Young mentioned, the nails can act as a window to our overall health, but not many realize that. So it's important to keep our nail in good shape, or at least check if it's in good shape. So how would you define a healthy nail?
Okay. Well, actually, a healthy nail, usually, when you touch it, it should be soft, shiny, pink to touch.
Okay.
And also, normal nail usually 0.5 millimeters thick. Okay. And also, when you look at your nail, there's something called a lanuna. It's at the base of your nail. It's white and crescent shaped.
Ah, the half moons.
Half moon, right? So when you look at it down like this, it should shoot out of the nail without any grooves or ridges.
Okay, so the grooves and ridges can actually indicate a condition in the nail. But you know, there's a saying that if the bigger the crescent is, that the white part that you just mentioned, the bigger it is, the healthier you are. I'm not sure if that's actually a true fact, but I've heard that several times.
I heard the smaller it is, the smarter you are from some of my Chinese friends.
Is it because you have very small?
I have small ones, actually.
I have small ones too.
Okay, so it must be true.
There you have it, Mr. Doctor. So.
Usually it doesn't really matter. It depends on your race, genetics. Usually if you just have it, it's okay. But there's certain conditions. If you don't have lanula, it could indicate malnutrition or a certain type of anemia. So you should get it checked out.
Okay, what about these little hangnails that you get on the side every now and then?
Okay, these hangnails, usually the best thing to do is not to touch them at all. What it comes from is dehydration. It could indicate that you're not drinking enough water or not using enough moisturizer. So a lot of people pick at it. It could actually cause infection.
Especially if you tear it the wrong way.
Right.
Really
tear it the wrong way and it goes all the way down to...
I know.
And another
so much.
interesting fact about your nails is that they grow. Your fingernails grow from 1 to 2 millimeters per month. Your toenails grow 1 millimeter per month. And another interesting fact is they grow faster in the summer and it grows faster on your dominant hand.
Why is that?
This is an interesting fact.
So we looked at various conditions that can affect our fingers, but can you explain why and how it shows the way it does?
Okay, the reason that you can tell a lot about a person's health status is because if you look at a nail, there are a lot of small vessels that exist beneath the nail matrix. So when you look at the color of the nail, you can tell a lot about a person's physical status. And indirectly, if you look at the nail color, you can indirectly tell about the person's physical status for the last 6 months.
Especially when it comes to liver conditions.
Right. For example, if you look at a person's nail and it turns yellow, fungal infection, pulmonary disease, tuberculosis, you could actually think about that. And if it's half white, half pink, you could actually think about kidney diseases. And another interesting one is, if you look at your nails and you see a black streak go across, it's very serious because it could also indicate melanoma, which is a form of cancer. So you've got to check your nails.
So cancer underneath the nail.
Right.
And a lot of women do their nails regularly at nail shops, and these days there's gel nail arts that don't go off easily with acetone. So what kind of an effect does these nail art have to our fingernails?
That's a good question, because when you look at manicure products at first, a lot of people use acetone. The acetone itself is a chemical product that causes the protein to break down in your nail matrix, which causes your nail to lose hydration, water moisturizer, so it could actually cause brittle nails. Another thing with these new gel-type nails becoming more popular in Korea, but the thing with them is that when you try to remove them, you have to use a stronger chemical than acetone, so it actually causes the nail to break down even further.
My wife actually waits until it starts cracking off and she just peels it off like in one piece.
Actually, that's actually better than
That's actually
Really
better.
better
so-
than
Because
using
they grind
chemical.
it.
the chemical is so bad. Because if you don't use the chemical, you can't get rid of it.
If they use acetone, I've noticed they make you soak it in the acetone for 30 minutes.
That's really bad. That
That's
is
how
really
to do
bad.
some damage.
All right, that's bad news for a lot of people that do love nail art. But there are some conditions that do become serious because of nail art. How about some other conditions that really need some certain types of treatment?
Well, after nail art or other type of manicure treatments, you could also develop something called paronychia, which is infection around the nail bed. And if it gets serious enough, you can actually have surgery with it. So you got to make sure you don't have any infections. And if you do develop a nick on your nail, make sure you use topical antibiotics to make sure nothing really happens. And if you do develop some type of swelling or heating sensation, go see your doctor.
Okay.
Okay, so it seems like there's a lot of treatment options available and that you need to go see your doctor when it gets very severe. So we'll take a look at what treatment options and home care options are available.
For split, broken nails, or other severe conditions, most people visit a dermatologist.
I kept my nails done a lot, and I'm at the hospital because I kept on getting split nails and they were really brittle.
Here, they apply supplements on dry, brittle, or split nails in order to provide nutrition. If there's an injury around the nail, it can lead to an infection from bacteria. Fungal nail infections are usually treated with medication, such as antibiotics, but it can take up to 6 months, making it difficult to treat pregnant women or those with weak livers. A new laser technology called pinpoint laser was introduced just last month, and it can help resolve some of these conventional problems in treatment. The pinpoint laser uses a 1064 nanometer wave through the nail bed, destroying any bacteria deep inside the tissue under the nails or deterring the growth with the heat from the laser.
In the case of fungal nail infections, the laser can remove the fungi without the patient having to take medicine for long periods of time.
Korean medicine also offers treatments for damaged nails. This patient has struggled with nail problems, such as frequently lifting or breaking off.
If the liver is weak because of stress or an unbalanced diet, it can cause damage to the nails. Also, if your hands and feet or lower abdomen is cold, it could indicate that circulation from the heart is not strong enough.
In Korean medicine, nails are used to study the patient's overall health while the doctor conducts an initial checkup. Based on this, they treat areas in the body that require aid and create better conditions overall for the nails to heal as well. They use herbal medicines such as chacho to help moisturize and enhance regrowth of the nails. It also has anti-inflammation qualities, which is why it's good to apply on the nails as well. Medicinal acupuncture and moxibustion are also used to enhance blood circulation and ensure that nutrients are delivered to the peripheral nerves in the fingertips. Regular care for the nails is important as well. If your nails are dry and brittle, massage oil into the area around them to help them regain strength. If the nail surface keeps breaking off, it indicates a lack of nutrition, so using nail lotions or creams can help provide them with moisture. If you're looking for faster effects, there are finger packs that loosen the cuticles and provide the nails with nutrition.
When you're using nail polish, it's better to apply it so it doesn't touch the skin or cuticles. Receiving nail care once or twice is ideal, and if it's more frequent than this, it could drain moisture from the cuticles and worsen your nails.
Nails are not just for decoration or aesthetic purposes. You can use them to get a view of your health as well, so it's important to keep them in tip-top shape.
Okay, we've looked at some of the care methods as well as treatments for certain conditions, but I think there's a condition that we actually often see, but we don't really talk about very much. This ingrown nails, it more often happens in the foot, but instead of the hand. But what can you do with chronic ingrown nail problems?
First of all, preventing is the best way. in order to prevent it, you have to wear loose-fitting shoes. And a lot of people, especially women, wear a lot of pointy shoes. It causes more pressure on the nails and causes it to ingrown. But the main cause of ingrown toenails, I think, is you cutting it improperly. The best way to cut your toenails is to cut it in a square pattern, in a straight line. The reason for that is because if you cut it too round, it makes the pressure goes to the side of the nail. It's general physics. So make sure you can equalize the tension on your nail. So best way to do it is if you want a round nail, file it off.
File it.
File off is the best way.
So no stilettos for us.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Or keep it square shape. Now, the new pinpoint laser treatment was kind of new to me. How much treatment do you have to receive?
The new pinpoint laser treatment is just developed. It's actually an ND-YAG type of laser. So usually it should be gone within 1 to 3 treatments, 1 month apart from each other. But the great thing about this laser is non-invasive. So there's no side effects, no downtime. Usually get back to work the next day.
And no scarring?
No scarring, nothing.
How much is the pain?
Very minimal. Very minimal. A little bit of heating sensation, and that's about it.
Also no anesthesia required?
No anesthesia required.
Okay. Now I have another question. You know, when we're talking about nail care and doing the nail art at centers, but a lot of people, you know, we try to save money and do it at home, which I guess is better to prevent cross-infection.
Right.
But if we do it wrong, then that can cause more problems. And, you know, a lot of the guidebooks are telling you step by step, it tells you to remove your cuticles.
Right.
Is that necessary?
To be honest with you, removing your cuticles is a cosmetic a function, because a lot of people remove your cuticles to make your fingernails look longer.
And slimmer.
And slimmer. But in a medical sense, there's no reason to remove your cuticles because they exist for a reason. Your cuticles are there to protect the nail and make your nails matrix more healthy.
Okay, so you mentioned that cutting your nails properly is is one important factor in keeping your nails healthy. Any other tips that you have for us? Something that you can eat, maybe vitamins and minerals, perhaps?
Right. Okay. Nails are 90% keratin. So keratin also exists in your hair and your skin. And if you eat a diet rich in protein, usually eggs, dairy products, meat, vegetables, and nuts, you should have a lot of keratin in your diet. It makes your nails more healthy.
Okay, so a healthy diet overall.
Right.
Dr. Cho, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
According to a recent survey held by a job search company, 8 out of 10 office workers say that they do want to exercise, but they just can't find the time to do so. So they might partake in certain leisure activities such as cycling or snowboarding or something like that.
What's your favorite leisure activity?
Nothing. Just breathing at home and being away from the kids.
Well, as the temperature gets warmer, many are turning to outdoor leisure activities and sports. And an exhibition was held last week to show all the gears and equipments for these leisure activities. And joining us now is Alex Sigrist. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. And yes, this show is one of a kind in Korea. It's a very big show. It's called the Seoul International Sports and Leisure Industry Show, or SPOEX to make it easier. And lots of people attended it, and you can see all the new trends in the industry. So we were able to go this past weekend and check it out. So let's take a look at what it had to offer. With 486 companies from 29 countries taking part, with nearly 2,000 booths, this year's Seoul International Sports and Leisure Industry Show, or SPOEX, was the largest since its inception.
My kind of expo.
Sure is.
A lot of people flocked to the venue, showing just how much interest there is in these fields. It's reflected in numbers as well, with the total size of the market growing from $31.3 billion in 2005 to over $52.6 in 2013, according to the Korean Leisure Industry Research Center. So what kind of products on display here drew people's attention? We'll get a look at the trends that will lead the industry this year.
So far, it's been a lot of cars and campers.
That's first. Within the last 6 years, Korea's camping industry has grown by over 30-fold. Reflecting this popularity, an entire floor was dedicated to camping cars, trailers, and camping equipment.
Better than my house.
Almost like a hotel.
They were quite amazing. Now, conventionally, large high-end camping cars from foreign companies were dominant in the market, which we are able to see a little bit of. But with the growing number of camping enthusiasts, this has shifted to greater demand for compact gear developed by Korean companies better equipped for local needs.
Does it come with a kimchi refrigerator?
You're expecting
now
too
that's
much
real
here.
luxury. So the camping car is equipped with a floor heating ondo system. Oh. It's small but has all that you need. The trailer is 2 square meters and 4 meters tall. And what makes that really nice is it fits right into an underground parking garage, making it compact but practical. So this is truly a unique Korean camping car. It has to be a lot smaller because, as with a lot of things, there's a lot more tight spaces in Korea. But if you look on the inside, there's not only the ondo, which is Korean, it's a very compact space that a lot goes into. So you can move things around and really fit a lot into this camping car.
That is beautiful. It doubles up as a man cave and a camper.
Indeed. Another trailer that was popular proved to be just as efficient as the small camping car, but built for effective storage and transport.
What is that?
Now, considering the narrow and winding streets in Korea, you have this small car here that just fits in, or the small trailer.
A lot
that
of
fits behind the
people
car.
with compact cars like to go camping these days, but there's so much to take with you. So in the case of our trailer, as long as you can get all the equipment that you need in the back, any car can tow it in the front. You don't need to load any luggage in the car, so it's convenient. This trailer has enough depth to carry things like heaters, and the length can fit in things like chairs as well, so you can fit items in from multiple directions.
Now, this was fascinating. A chainless bike, the first to be developed in the world, was also the center of attention.
Always get your ankles grinded up on the chain.
Yeah.
So there's no chain here. So how does this work?
There's a gearbox inside here that we developed as the first in the world and also hold the original patent for. There are 3 speed gears inside, and the speed allows for up to 3.75 to 1. Regular bikes provide up to 4 to 1. So the spinning is pretty strong.
This is kind of weird because I've never actually been able to ride a bike that hasn't had a chain before. So I guess that would get rid of the problem of always having it fall off. There was also an electric bike kit that allows you to easily go uphill. At 2.6 kilograms, this small device can transform your bicycle into an electric one within just 15 minutes.
This doesn't require any modifications or swapping out of parts. All you need to do is install it on your bike. It comes with a device that can control the speed, and if you turn it on, it moves like this. Once a person gets on, it moves up, exerting greater power, and if you get off, it automatically brings itself down again. So it's completely automatic without any overload in current.
There were also bike tires that can never go flat because instead of pumping them up with air, they're actually solid on the inside. Their design and practicality brought in a lot of people, and it signaled an upcoming trend within the industry.
Yes. Use this a lot.
Yes, and there are many ways people work out. You've got Pilates, yoga, just going to the gym. The equipment here, though, teams up with some new technology to create a new workout experience. This is a device that sends sound waves through the body to stimulate blood vessels and nerves. It improves blood circulation and conditions such as osteoporosis, providing both exercise and treatment for the body. Now, what's interesting is it can target specific parts of the body. This is clearly different from other exercise machines. And it's really cool because you're able to get a different sort of exercise with the changing of the frequency from fast to slow, the intensity. This is very different. Now there's also new gadgets that allow people to go beyond just exercising by playing games with other people.
That'll be fun.
I need that in my gym.
It's not as boring since I'm working out with other people, and it's fun competing with others, so I feel like I try harder to win.
The SPOEC show was a great venue to get a look at this year's trends that come with enhanced elements of style and technology. So this year, gear up for spring with innovative and dynamic ideas that will add more fun to your leisure activities. It was quite a show, I have to admit.
You know, some of the stuff that we saw on the show, on your report, some of the stuff are the ones that we actually introduced here. SJ has been
horseback riding,
and some of these alternative forms of exercise can make things a little bit funner. But what were some of the more popular booths there?
Well, the popularity depended, of course, on your demographics. Now, it was just, in general, a very popular show. There were about, actually more than 70,000 people over this 4-day period. It was actually popular with businesses as well. So it's not just people going to try things out. If all of the contracts go through that they were able to negotiate, it will be over $14 million in sales. So that was a big thing. Now, demographically, if you were a family, the more popular parts were the camping cars or the camping area. If you were younger, of course, you had the exercise machines and the sports bikes. And they also had places for clubs to go. If you were into scuba diving or snorkeling or something like that, there were separate areas for those people. So it was very specific to your needs.
And in the case of camping cars and trailers, in the past, you needed a license for bigger vehicles, but for these compact camping cars, do you need a particular license for that?
Not for the compact ones. So that's the good news, is that the cars themselves, the camping cars, are actually narrower than a normal car on the street. So you don't need a special license to go out there. You can just buy it and you're on your way. And then they also had, of course, the trailer in the back. It's very small, compact. You can take it anywhere. It's very easy to maneuver. It's very lightweight too. So anyone of any size, any stature, men, women, children, well, children they can't drive it, but they can, pick it up. And it's very simple to actually.
Pick up the camper?
The trailer in the back, you pick it up. It was so easy to connect it. You just, I don't even know how to explain it.
So the axle's probably balanced in the right area where it can pivot back and forth.
Yeah, so that was a really interesting one as well.
Now, I mean, we saw so many different things, right? We saw like workout machines and stuff like that. But one of the things that kind of stood out for me were the bicycles with these like cutting edge technology. I mean, it looks great. And not only that, there's some technologies that we've never seen before. I'm assuming because of those fancy high-tech technology, there might be, not just here in Korea, but overseas companies that might be interested in this bike, right?
Yeah, and you could see that by looking at the fairs. The electric bike kit won some awards in Europe and Germany before, and so that was a really successful one. And then actually, just by standing there, you saw a whole bunch of international people drawn to these different bike gadgets. And I mean, I was a huge fan of the fact that there was one without a chain, because I've never really seen that before. So that was pretty interesting as well. They're already exporting to Russia, to Europe, Japan, or they're at least in the process of negotiating those deals. So there is a lot of interest in Korean products overseas.
Okay, any other products that were actually at the venue but didn't get a chance to introduce?
Yeah, I mean, there were tons of products. I mean, we spent a whole day there and I didn't get to see all of them. But there were a lot of interesting ones like this tennis machine. It's
tennis machine?
Yeah. So for people like me who need a lot of practice, there's this indoor tennis machine that if you don't have an opponent, you can just practice like that. Now, actually, you won't see it, but I was kind of nervous when I tried it. I missed the machine.
And you broke something.
Well, this person's actually good.
Yeah, he's actually good. You're not supposed to do this in an open convention center. The ball just, I actually don't know where it went. We never found it. So that was a really cool one. There was also a climbing machine, a climbing wall where it's just a very small, maybe a couple meters tall, and it had this just rotating belt, and you could climb up it. You can.
But what if the belt goes down too fast?
It's like a reverse hamster wheel.
I guess you lose if it comes down too fast. You fall, but you can change the angle. You can change the speed. So theoretically, you'll be able to do well with that. And the final thing, there was a folding canoe, which, canoe is a canoe, but then this one was actually really small. I don't know, whatever 96 centimeters is.
There it is right there.
96 by 65 centimeters.
That's a canoe.
But when you fold it out, it ends up being 4.6 meters.
So you can carry it around to the place you want.
Origami.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff there, like practicality-wise. They even had these paper pots, I guess, that you could cook ramen in.
We actually saw that in the video.
Right. And so those were really good. I tasted it and just tasted
And you can just
fine.
throw it away after you use it.
Right.
You know, I really like the treadmill. Because you know, one of those things, if you ever go to the gym, you're running around and it's so boring just like looking in the front. I mean, there's television nowadays, but now there was that screen where it looks like you're actually running on the track, so.
So does these treadmill have to be like next to each other to compete?
In the same area anyway, but you can't set up a network to be able to do it. But you could do it alone as well. They actually had different screens you could look at using maps. You could pretend to be on the beach, basically. So you could actually walk.
Slow motion.
Yeah, well, if you go slow, it's slow motion. If you run, it's fast motion. But that was really interesting, too. You could be in Singapore, Australia, different countries as well. Although I really did like that machine because even though I was racing against two people beside me, I completely forgot I was exercising. And there was this motion sensor that just had me focused the whole time, like, okay, if I'm here, it's going faster. If I'm back here, it's slower. So I had a lot of fun with it. And that's the important part of some of these new machines. The bike machine we saw is that you get tricked into exercising.
Okay, it's basically make it more entertaining so you forget that you're on a treadmill like a hamster in a hamster wheel.
I'm not a hamster. Thank you anyway.
All right, thanks a lot, Alex.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Alex. All right, this is all we have for this Tuesday morning.
All right, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Have a wonderful day and drive safe out there. It's going to be a wet one. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching.